The chair now recognizes Dr. Green.
Thank you, Chairman Clyburn and Ranking Member Scalise, and thank you to our witnesses. Ever since the Democrats captured the House, the loudest voices in the Democrat Party have done nothing but work to take power away from people. Take House Resolution 1, for instance, the Democrats' flagship bill For the People Act, or maybe more appropriately, For the Politicians Act. This piece of legislation would mandate a colossal takeover of state election processes to empower big government liberals. Or perhaps H.R. 5, which removes religious freedoms granted in previous legislation in the Constitution. Or what about their desire to dictate what vehicle we can drive or ride in the Green New Deal? Or now AOC is out there pushing universal rent control. That's right out of Karl Marx. Take a more recent bill, House Resolution 965. Through the yellow fever of 1793, the burning of the Capitol during the War of 1812, the Civil War, the Spanish flu of 1918, and 9/11, the House has always assembled in person to conduct votes. And while the Republican-controlled Senate continues to do so, Speaker Pelosi forced through proxy voting without the minority's consent, further concentrating her power while disregarding the Constitution over 200 years of historical precedent. Concentrated power is tyranny. And despite flattening the curve, some Democrats have consistently urged for a slower reopening of the American economy. What about the waitress, though, the bus driver, the construction worker, who are not sure how they're even going to make next month's rent or put food on the table? Why should the government force them not to work when we've already accomplished the goal of flattening the curve? It begs the question, why are some leaders in the Democrat Party willing to put power over people? Let me explain. In an article in Politico titled, and I quote, "The general election scenario that Democrats are dreading," end quote, the reporter quotes Jason Furman, Dr. Furman, who's here today, and I quote, "We're about to see the best economic data we've seen in the history of this country," end quote. The article mentions that Dr. Furman's comments regarding a strong economic recovery has caused some Washington Democrats, especially Dr. Furman's fellow Obama alumni, to panic. Quote, "This is my big worry," said former Obama White House official. Asked about the level of concern among top party officials, he said, "It's high, 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 high," end quote. Senior political operatives of the Democrat Party are dreading a massive economic recovery? Is it possible Democrats would rather the American economy not bounce back so quickly so that they can see President Trump defeated? I hope everyone realized what this article is saying. Top Washington Democrats, some on Vice President Biden's campaign team, are lamenting a rapid economic recovery. They want unemployment to remain sky high. They want 401ks of Americans to tank. They should be celebrating people getting their jobs back. These Democrats, not all, these are clearly more concerned about power than they are about people. They'd rather defeat President Trump than help their fellow Americans. As a physician, I understand how the shutdown is severely impacting the health and well-being of Americans. Take our seniors. It's common knowledge in the medical community that social isolation and loneliness heightens mortality. According to one study conducted by researchers at Brigham Young University, loneliness increased the odds of mortality by 26%. It should be considered a risk factor like obesity and high blood pressure, or take suicides. According to research from Wellbeing Trust, the coronavirus pandemic and related shutdowns will probably cost 75,000 additional deaths from suicide, drug overdose, and alcohol abuse. A poll by the Kaiser Foundation found that 45% of U.S. adults reported their mental health as already negatively affected. Additionally, diagnostic panels and cancer screenings plunged by as much as 68%, and even more in some coronavirus hotspots. As a doctor and a cancer survivor myself, I know from both sides of the stethoscope that these screenings are crucial in diagnosing cancer before it spreads. There's more than an election at stake here. The lives of our fellow Americans are at stake. I urge Speaker Pelosi and the entire Democrat Party to join us and encourage these states to speed up the opening of this economy. That's how we save lives, save jobs, and save Americans. Thank you. And
The 5 minutes have expired.